the welcome package, we also have the organizational chart. We have the what we call the organizational fact sheet, and you'll find more about ALG in there. But I think it's important for us to just go through our core values. What is it that sets us apart as an institution, as an organization that wants to do this work? So our core values is one, accountability. If we are going to demand accountability from our leaders, we also have to be accountable to each other. We are going to own up to our responsibilities to our co-volunteers and members of the organization. We're going to work diligently as we expect others to work. With respect is critical. We're going to treat everyone with dignity and respect. We're going to be sensitive towards agenda, cultural and religious differences, prejudice, biases. We have no tolerance for that. We have no tolerance for religious prejudice at all. We encourage diversity because diversity is our strength. And so that is also that's one of our core values. Integrity. We want to make sure that we maintain a very high ethical standard. We do what we say we are going to do. We keep our promises and we don't compromise under any circumstances. We don't abuse power or authority. And then we believe in justice. We believe in, we value fairness, and we believe that is the best foundation for unity amongst all people. And then transformation. We value the ability of individuals and institutions and our systems to change and transform the present situation that we have into that Nigeria or that continent that it really should be. I talked a little bit about diversity, respect for all, diversity and equity. Having a diverse group is very important. In diversity, there is strength, and to understand and appreciate the value that diversity brings to the table. And equity is not equality. And there is an example I always use for equity and equality. Equity is making sure that everyone has the same access to the resources that they need to help them be successful. So if I'm 5'4", I may need a step stool. And I'm trying to get to a 6 foot height, I need a ladder that is 6 inches. Someone that is 5'2" will need a ladder that is 8 inches so that we can get to the same point. So our resources are different, and we have to be able to understand what those resources are that gives us equity. We speak the truth at all times. We value truth at all times and transparency. And then we are courageous. We are not afraid of challenges, but we would respectfully face our challenges. We can agree to disagree, but courage is something you can't take on nation building if you're not courageous. So fear is not something that is in our DNA. Courage is in our DNA. Everyone is a leader. We are all leaders in our own, within our own sphere of influence, and we must conduct ourselves as that. We see ourselves as leaders. So those are our core values. And Pastor T will join us a bit later, and we'll talk a little bit about our guiding principles, and you'll see that in the organizational fact sheet as well. And some of the guiding principles, again, I talked about it in core values. As we obey the law, we value citizens' rights and participation. You see that on NLS, where we open the forum and ensure that everyone has an opportunity to speak. We treat people with dignity and respect. We talk about that. We conduct all our activities with integrity. We're creative, we're sound, and we're practical in developing solutions. We collaborate and partner with other like-minded organizations. And you'll see that as we move on, we've engaged with some other organizations, and we're in the process of establishing those partnerships. Again, it's not a Lone Ranger journey. We believe in collaboration to be able to achieve what we need to. We encourage political participation and leadership at all levels. We are not all going to be in politics, but we would encourage and support and help provide the resources tools that you need to be successful. We are committed to being responsible, ethical citizens and leaders. So those are some of our guiding principles. And I will stop there now to see if Mr. President has entered the room.
I have.
Okay, over to you, sir.
Yeah, I just to welcome everybody to this members orientation session and to thank everybody for being able to join. I'm really very grateful indeed for all the efforts we're making towards a better and a new Nigeria. In fact, good news, I just finished with the Honorable Minister for Finance, and I've invited her to speak on ALG one of these days, and she's quite happy to do that, maybe after May 29th, when she has finally retired. Just to talk about the vision and mission of the African Leadership Group. Basically, we were set up to try and see how we can make changes in the African in diaspora leadership mindset with a view to breeding and cultivating and bringing about a new crop of well-meaning leadership that will help to transform the African continent. That's what it is in a nutshell. And it is broken into 3 or 4 different parts. Number one, leadership discourse, which we have on the Nigerian Leadership Series, where we talk on a regular basis as to what we can do to make leadership in Nigeria and albeit Africa much better. So we're going to be moving that around to different African nations where we have a leadership discourse and just to get ideas of different people on leadership. Number 2, leadership identification, selection, training, and development. How do we identify, select, and train very, very competent and capable leaders in Africa? How do we identify them and train them? Number 3, reorientation of our people to think differently, see things differently, and know how to compare apples and apples and good from bad leadership and what to demand and expect of their leaders. Okay, we have come to the conclusion that unless you can reorientate the African mind and change the way they are thinking, their selfishness, their self-centeredness, their crookedness, and all manners of things that they do, we may not be able to evolve the right atmosphere, environment, and even leadership for Africa and for Nigeria. The selfishness is a bit much. So reorientation of leadership. And then number 4, also find how we can evaluate leadership in whatever form or shape they're in and at different levels, so that one day you'd have the African Leadership Prize for good and competent leadership in Africa in various bands, so that you can encourage those who are doing well and discourage those who are not doing that well. Then number 5, to encourage and engage in diaspora relations, getting the Africans to trade and engage and develop business among themselves, bringing Africans in diaspora back to the African continent and making them do business and develop the African continent and make unity and uniting a bit easier and better. And then see how to manage the transition of diasporans from the diaspora into the continent.
Did we lose him?
I think network where he is not stable. I'll try and reach out to him.
there'll be various action points that will be taken under these 5 vision pillars. And then the mission, of course, is to emancipate the African and the African continent. That's what the mission is. Emancipate us and change the landscape and make us from undeveloped or underdeveloped to a developed continent. That is the whole idea. Working with leadership, complementing leadership, criticizing leadership, speaking truth to power where and where necessary, but having a developmental mindset. That's the mission. And I hope that everyone here who have joined will find their own area of interest, their own area of passion, their own area of capacity to help us all work on to lead to this transformation that we're all looking for and hoping for. We think this is our own little contribution towards this discourse, rather than just sit back, talk, and grumble and this and that. Let us take our own piece of the action and walk with it and do our best with it. Thank you again, once again. I'm truly, truly grateful. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Do you want to just speak on the Nigeria Project Challenge? Pastor T is not on. I'm not sure why.
Okay, not a problem. The Nigerian Project Challenge is a way by which we want to disseminate, get crystallized information from different people who will help us focus on the 2 or 3 areas that we think we should concentrate on in terms of effort, leadership effort in Nigeria. So there's a questionnaire that we have developed, has 10 questions, and all we're asking people to do is to rank those 10 areas as into the areas of the highest to the least priority, as into action points that we should face in Nigeria. So therefore, we can then use that to challenge leadership in Nigeria and know the amount of energy and effort we should put into those areas. So I'm hoping that those of us on this platform, at the appropriate time, we will be introduced to it if the questions are ready, and we can then do it electronically. If they are not, we'll find a way to send them to you or to find another forum where we can take them on. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and yeah, I have the link. I'll post it in the chat room in a few minutes. I have the link.
Okay. You want me to speak to the organizational chat also, or is there somebody else speaking? Are you going to be able to project it?
Faye, do you have that? Okay, let me see. I can share my screen. Let me see. 1 second. Okay, let me. Can everyone see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you see the org chart? Maybe you should show it's doing that. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is our organizational chart as it stands. It's going through process and reprocessing, but this is how we're operating right now. The privilege of being at the helm of affairs is mine, chairman and founder of the African Leadership Group, and I have supporting me Pastor Olu Victor, who acts as my chief of staff and also executive secretary to this group. Find somewhere to park. Okay. And then working closely with me right there are two vice presidents or vice chairmen, as they are called. Pastor Senenibi used to be in Nigeria, but now lives in Ireland, at least on a semi-permanent basis. And Jumoke Taylor, second vice chair. Okay. Now, underneath the various vice chairs, underneath Sonny, you would have members engagement, and that breaks into its directorates. Okay, Joanne. Now I can't see that right.
You
You may
can't?
have to take that. I can't.
Okay,
It's
so
a
we
bit too
have,
small.
yeah, it is kind of, she's the global and regional, she's in charge of global and regional partnership. Okay, maybe I can, so is Mr. President still in, or did we lose him?
I'm still,
Okay. So we have Dr. Joan Benson. She's out in Pennsylvania. She's in charge of global and regional partnership. And then Pastor Tayo Fagmero, he's in charge of training, development, and research. And then we have Reverend Shade Fashidemi. She's in charge of communication. And then you have Mrs. Lara Gurujo Derinde. She's media engagement. And we have Mr. Ibrahim Pam. He's the Director of Policy, Strategy and Planning. And then we have an open slot for legal advisor. And then, and under each one, you guys will have this, under Dr. Benson is the partnership engagement. Under Pastor Tayo is policy and curriculum development. We have a school of leadership, SOLAG, leadership and good governance. And you'll hear a little bit about the upcoming course. And then Shade, she's also the lead for the diaspora desk. And then Lara is the lead for fund and resource mobilization. And then this is the directory which we'll send to everyone. So if you want to get in touch with any of the people on the management team, we'll send you their contact information. So that's it. I'll stop sharing. Can you project the agenda again, please? Thank you. Pastor Sonny, over to you. Oh, we had lost Pastor Sonny. He's coming back in now. So please give us a few minutes. Pastor Sonny, are you back in?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so it's you're up for the committee to talk about the committees.
So sorry, I went off. Okay, great. Thank you very much. It's really a privilege, we have 10 committees as specified. We have tried to narrow down every possible thing we can need, inside each of these committees, and people are free to volunteer to any of the committees that they may wish to join that speaks to your area of strength. We have the education committee, subcommittee, that tends to take a holistic look at our educational system. Why are children? Why do we have a lot of out-of-school children? What can be done? What should be done? And just give very simple tips and proposal. And so if you are more inclined towards education, you will join the education committee. We also have the health subcommittee, Ditto for health, our health system is not where it should be. We should have progressed better than this. People that were around in the 60s and maybe part of the 70s say that the health system was much better, that people used to come from other countries to come and take healthcare in Nigeria. Instead of progressing, we're regressing. Now, what can be done in very practical terms that we can hold government accountable for? We also have the infrastructure subcommittee. I know that during Obasanjo's government, as far back as Obasanjo's government, he set up a committee to look at abandoned projects in Nigeria. And it will shock you to know the number of abandoned projects we have all over the country. We're struggling that we don't have infrastructure, but I think one of our best pastime is to start and not finish any project. So infrastructure, we look at what we need, what we have, how we can progress. We have the legal and legislative subcommittee or legislator. These are the people that will help us to look at how we can draft whatever we need to put, sometimes send bills to National Assembly, and generally help us look at our legal framework. We also have the Economy, Environment, and Energy Subcommittee. This committee looks at the economy is quite large, very large, so you may want to break it down. We can't take on every possible thing. Good things about the various CSOs and NGOs that we have in the country is that everybody is doing little chunk of what they can. And the best way to do it is that not one single organization can take on everything. So we will do our little bits and we'll look at economy, we'll look at the environment and the energy. What are the best options? Like the convener said, we are like a shadow government. We are putting forward proposals and options that are workable. So we are not just whining and complaining, but we have done some research, we have done our work, and then we are making this work available first in the public space and then using it to engage those in authority to say that these are what we think. Now, will our ideas always be the best? No, but at least it's a framework for starting a conversation. We also have the Communication, Media, and Social Influencing Subcommittee, ditto for their functions, freedom of the press, media, putting out information, communication, what we need to do. We have other committees like the Partnership, Global, Regional, and National Interfaith Subcommittee. We have the Grassroots Mobilization, people's group, associations, civil society organizations, community groups, etc. We need to mobilize people from the grassroots. I think democracy is what we make of it. Sometimes we think that leadership, once people get elected, that's all, they have become our lords and masters. We have seen in the Western world how they hold people accountable. In France, especially, I've seen many times where they have almost slapped their president, thrown things at him, and you see the way they speak, that these people are supposed to be our servants. They put themselves forward. Nobody is compelling them to come and do this. So we need to mobilize the grassroots on how to hold leadership accountable, whether from councillor to local government chairman, whether you're a commissioner, although poverty is a deterrent to that, because once people get into office, they begin to, distribute favors here and there, and the people are not able to question them anymore. But what we want to do is to try and mobilize the various groups, whether from the grassroots, whether from the states, the national, and especially those in the diaspora that have shown a lot of interest in this drive, so that we can move forward with that. The other group that is very critical to nation building, of course, is the youth and women. I don't know why they always put youth and women, but let me just say that the youth, and if the women are youth, good. The women join all the other groups, the future belongs to them. A lot of the people in leadership today started some 30, 40, some of them 50 years ago. Some of them were in their 20s when they got into leadership. And look, the strength of a nation is her youth. And so they must be involved and they must take part. What you could do when you were 20, if you are 40 something, you can't do it. If you are 50, it's not even possible. The risk you could take. That's why when they want to enlist people into the army, they don't take beyond 23 years. I mean, between 17 and 23, because that's the stage for risk. People can do anything. So, but when we keep having, retired people that have finished all their life coming to say they want to lead, it's not. So how do we engage the youth? How do we empower the youth? How do we mobilize them? What role do we expect of them? This is what the youth subcommittee and women will do. The last one is agriculture. Everybody keeps saying that agriculture is one of the biggest employer of labor, in the country. But how do we structure it? We must be able to feed ourselves in this country. Is it possible? Yes. How do we do it? We've had so many experts come and try to help us get out of it, but so many times it hasn't worked. So this committee will help us look at that structure and see what they can come up with. Very simple paper. So all the committees that are here, we don't want to be a committee of meetings and writing very lengthy documents that will gather dust. We want effective committees that will meet and produce 1-2 points that can be properly carved and presented, and all of us will continue to push it. What we want is effective communiques that we can push, effective results that we can all push so that it will get the desired effect. And I believe that every one of you that have signed up to be part of this great project, have some visions and some things that you may want to contribute. So this is the way we are, divided along committee lines where you can make your inputs and it will be brought to the General House. And hopefully you will see what you have contributed to, how we are pushing it, and to ultimately lead to better governance in Nigeria. So I will stop here, but there will be a session for questions and answers. Jumoke, do they take the questions now, or do we wait till the end where all the presentations have been made, and then during Q&A, people can generally ask their questions, and then we can take all of them together?
Yeah, I think it's up to you how you want us to run this. We don't have too much to go over. So maybe you want us to just go through the presentation and then leave the questions and answers to the end?
Yeah, I think that should help. People should just note their questions and note their questions now, and let us wait until we are ready for the questions.
And if
what other presentation are we taking?
No, we just want to talk about, Shade is going to speak about volunteers' roles and responsibilities. And then I also just wanted to add something to the committees. And part of what we're doing is really using the SDG goals as a kind of a template for what we are developing to present. So the Economic Energy Committee, for example, took the SDG goals, took where Nigeria was, and kind of measured the policies or the programs against the SDG goals. And then they're working on what that gap analysis is, and then the recommendation that we can present. So it's going to be the same for all the other groups. I think probably for education, health, and infrastructure is another big one, especially with what's going on in Lagos and all the buildings that are collapsing right now. So that is going to be part of what we're going to be looking at. And Mr. President had also spoken about the Nigeria Challenge. Faye, if you can scroll up, I put a link in the chat room. All the committees the Project Nigeria challenge actually feeds, the committees feed into it as well, if you look at the way it's set up. So we would also have you select, as he mentioned, the 3 that is priority to you. And also, if you can list on the form the task that you as a member would like to work on in your area that you have selected as your priority. That's all I have to say. And then at some point, we would also have the, we call them the Triple E committee, do a presentation. It could be a video presentation to help other committees understand how they got started and just to help move things along. So we would be inviting them to do that. Thank you. So the link to the form is in the chat room. Please go ahead and fill it. You can fill it now, you can fill it later. Thank you. Faye, can you project the agenda again? Shade, you are up.
Thank you very much. So far, you're welcome once again. I'm Shade Fashidemi, and I'm based in South Africa. And yes, I'm part of this group, and I feel very honored that we're all able to work on this vision together. We have done quite a lot of work over the years, and it's an honor that you have all submitted in one way or the other to commit to being a part of the ALG, not just as passers-by, but as people who say we want to put in what we have. And on that account, we first want to say thank you. Thank you, because not everybody is able to volunteer in a pro bono environment where remuneration is not necessarily direct. However, I would like to let you know that whatever we do at the directorate of the Africa Leadership Group usually always has a win-win mentality to it. So when we invite you for something, we already have a benefit in it for you. Now, it may not look so obvious and it may not be remunerational. However, as you carry along, we hope that in the future, you'll be able to add your volunteering services to your profiles and CVs as you carry on in the rest of your activities as professionals and as leaders. Now, first of all, I'd like to say that the first thing we want is for you to understand that this is a higher calling. A lot of us are faith-based leaders, so every one of us has accomplished something, no matter how minimal in our private lives. However, we want to carry on because there is a saying that says after success comes significance. Significance is when you've used your base of strengths and intelligence and your career and your operating environment and your productivity in the past. You're now beginning to use it in the system where it doesn't necessarily carry your name or necessarily remunerate you. So on that basis, we're grateful that we're all able to come and bring our significant part and accomplish our significance under the ALG banner. Another thing we need you to understand is that we want you to serve proudly and capably. We have faith that everybody who's chosen to volunteer has something to offer. You may not have what I have to offer, and I may not have what you have to offer, but what you have to offer is significance. And we do not want you to underrate yours. You know, it's like the piece of a puzzle. Every piece comes together to make a complete puzzle, but when you have a missing piece, a missing piece just makes the whole puzzle incomplete. But that missing piece can look so small and insignificant, but it's not. And we want you to see yourself as a missing piece, and that every time we make a call for any kind of resource, any kind of requirement, assistance, even if it's just to forward communication to a bigger market, to your own segment, to your own community, it's not insignificant. The 1, 2, 3, 4 people that you are connected to, that we are not connected to, can make all the difference in everything that we are doing here. Another thing we want you to do is to know that we have our core values which we're communicating to you, and we would love for you to also represent the Africa Leadership Group based on that core value. It's these are core values that we hope to incorporate in the new Nigeria, develop and train and pass on from grassroots to leadership. So when we are representing ALG, we cannot speak truth to power, neither can we expect accountability when we ourselves are not showcasing that in our private lives or even the way we run our activities as volunteers. So when we say we want to volunteer, please let's show up. It's not good enough to talk, but we need to walk the walk as well. Okay, so on that note, we'll be looking forward to you being walkers. You can see we've got a larger community than this, but you showed up. And what you showed up here to do is more important for us than those who walk. Okay, we want to accept the guidance and the decisions of the committee leadership so that we can work in tandem with the vision. Everybody has their own dreams and aspirations, but we want you to bring the subset of your dream and your aspirations to the ALG where there is a common interest. Some of you will have to do other things in the future to be able to accomplish your own goals and your own dreams. But if you take a portion of yours and you bring it in here, you'll find out that you can be fulfilled, whether it's just 10, 20, 30% of your life of significance can be incorporated under the work you do at the ALG. We want you to cooperate with the other volunteers so that our volunteer sessions are not we already have the dialogue environment. So the dialogue environment is for Thursday, where everybody gets to speak, and the people, we speak our hearts. We vent our frustrations. The speakers are held to answer questions. But when we're in volunteering work, please, we need to be able to separate the two. Volunteer work is volunteer work. The work has already been mapped out and has been dished out and segmented based on your strength. So what we want is, it's not a point to deviate and distract. It should be an area in which we expect your expertise to come in, and we are expecting professional behavior from everyone. Whatever standards you see, make it your point. Make it a point that you do not lower the standards. If you have to rise up to that standard, then please do. It's the power of teamwork and team dynamics. And you'll find out that even in your own private lives, whatever standards are higher than the standards that you're used to operating in can now influence the rest of your life, which is part of your win-win. Okay? Keep the information professional and seek approval for sharing as necessary when we're in an open environment. And then also do the best part of whatever, do your part to meet deadlines. So when we allocate assignments or assistance to every committee, let the members know that if there's a deadline, there's a deadline. That deadline feeds into another deadline, that feeds into another deadline, that feeds into a schedule. So it's very, very important. Now, I won't take too much of your time now because I'm just going to scroll through our volunteers attributes. We want you to show up with character, courage, competence. We want you to feel like you're collaborating with us in one way or the other. So whatever I am able to accomplish on my own, I becomes multiplied. There's a multiply effect the minute you come from a perspective of we are collaborating with ALG. And that will make it fulfilling for everybody. In the area of communication, the most important thing you can do for us is let us always have your great ideas. Send it in. Have your say, even if you don't have your way. One of my leaders taught me that from when we were young in management school. And so it's been part of what we used to grow. You always get to say what you need to say. Even if it's not adopted, it doesn't have to be adopted. However, you'll be surprised that what you have to say contributes to influencing the process. Make your contributions. Some of the people in diaspora said to us they didn't want us to be using them as ATM wallets, the way Nigeria normally does. And I laugh about that, but I don't think we can run away from it. All of us in diaspora understand that even from the family environment, whenever there's money allocation or family distribution, they allocate more to you because they just see US dollars. So there's nothing you can do about that. We'll be needing you to do your own contributions, but we will make it onerous. So whatever you're able to bring to the party, sometimes it can just be your odd 10, 20, 30 US dollars every month that you contribute to us on our monetization pages. That'll go a long, long, long way in allowing us to have a little seed money that we can always use to run the organization. As you know, anything that is free is always taken for granted. But when you give to us, we'll be accountable, just like we want to hold the government accountable. And then we need your compassion as well. You know, we've had firepower in terms of compassion from the people on the forum. Please bring that firepower into your contribution on the committee, because in the committee you're more committed than the people who just speak. So thank you so much for all those who've done so much so far. But let your passion and your compassion carry on. And yeah, you've got your rights. You know, we learn and we duly informed about the organization, and we want to make sure we maintain each person's right. This is not an environment for abuse or usurping power. This is an environment for recognizing every individual and respecting what you bring in your own office. We want you to know that you will be heard and you will be recognized for your part that you play as volunteers. But please, let's just do it with the one spirit, knowing that there is a vision, and there's nothing worse than a vision that is being run with people going in different directions. So we hope that you will run with us. You will bring your ethics to the party. You will bring your strengths to the party. Those who don't know what their strengths are, please discover your top 5 strengths so that you can come. If you are someone who is great at writing, please do know whatever your professional strengths are. The strength tests online, go and find them out so that you're operating maximally with your top 5 strengths, and you can bring those top 5 strengths to the party at the ALG. So I won't belabor you too much, but we want to maintain good working relationships with everyone, which means even the way we conduct ourselves in the communication is going to be very important. So we don't have factions and divisions, but rather we've got seamless operations that take us very far. We have accomplished a lot in the year 2022 when you volunteers came along, and you allowed us to know what, and sensitized us to what the people were feeling and what the people were thinking. And it even helped us so much that we were able to realize that this dream is much bigger than we thought it was. And so, on that note, we would like you to carry on adding and not subtracting, but we guarantee you this is a win-win. And you can see what's in it for me, but if you have an idea what we have lined up for the next 4 years, you'll understand that you didn't just come here by accident. It will be so beneficial that at the end of 4 years, you'll be able to be proud that you are truly, truly a part of the new Nigeria. Thank you so much. On that note, I hand over to the facilitator.
Thank you so much, Shade, for those very important points. Pastor T is not here, so I'm just going to quickly go over the operating model, ALG's operating model, and then we'll go into questions and answers. So we want to keep it's a brand, ALG is a brand, and we want to keep the way we do business very consistent. So our operating model is to make sure that each committee defines, or each working group defines the critical issues, what is the problem we're trying to solve, and then gathers the information around that. And then insights from research, as Shade had mentioned, you bring your ideas. It's a collaborative model that we operate here. And then the solutions, it's one thing to identify the problem and talk about the problem, but it's solution driven. We want to be result oriented. And so what is our intervention plan? And also, how do we implement this? And the associated timeline with that implementation, and then the impact evaluation. So how are we measuring success with some of these programs that we're doing? So that is how our ALG's model is defined or developed, and we'll be sharing information with you on that. Everything that we've shared with you here is in a welcome package that we'll be sending to your email, so that at your own time, you can also review. And then it has all our contact information there, that you can reach out to any one of us if you have questions or you need additional information. I think most of you we've shared, especially those of you in the diaspora, I've shared my phone number with you. Pastor Olu has also shared his phone number with you, and we'll be happy to do that again if you would like to follow up with a phone call. So want to thank you again for your time here. It's been great. So we're going to open it up now for questions. If Mr. President and Mr. Vice President don't have any other comments to add before I open. Over to you. Ms. House, do you have any other comment or questions to add before we open for questions? Okay. Pastor Sani?
Yeah?
Anything else to add before we open for questions?
No. I think we should make the meeting straight and punchy. Whatever will come from the question and answer session, I think can help to answer all other things. Thank you very much, Jumoke and Shade, for all you have said and added, and what Pastor Itua said. So we generally open it up now for questions, and so that we can take it up from there. So Jumoke, handle the question and answer. Thank you.
Okay. If I may ask, as many of you that can turn on your cameras, please go ahead and do so. We're going to be working together for a long time. So maybe we can start familiarizing ourselves with each other now. If you can't, it's fine, but just really want to encourage you to please turn on your cameras. Now, does anyone have any question? Please go ahead and raise your hand if you have any questions. Okay, go ahead, Uncle Charles, with your question. I've asked you to unmute.
Well, I must congratulate all of you for what we've done so far and the fact that we have kept faith with what we're doing. And I'm in quite a few groups, but I must tell you that what we've done here is quite remarkable. few college groups and a few university groups done well. But what I always say is that it's always essential that people they share the same tools of analysis. And in the group that I'm in, it's called Hope 2050. And it started before Buhari launched his own Hope 2050. I wrote them a document, which I don't know if I can either share or send to everyone here. So we realized that we're not really too far from the so-called advanced countries. And that what we're doing right now, they actually make a few people quick in their feet. So for me, I like it to be that everyone believes that they are using the same tools of analysis. So I don't know, can I forward that to Sonny or who share it?
You can forward it to Pastor Sonny,
All
and
right,
then maybe
okay,
we'll put it in a package.
Okay, so I'll share that now with Pastor Sonny, and he can also share it on the platform if he has enough time to do that. I'll do that straight away. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Momodu, please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. I want to thank everyone for your participation so far, particularly the chairman for his initiative. I'm a bit curious, and please take this from me from a point of ignorance. I wanted to be sure, since this is Africa focus, I wanted to find out if there's a plan to engage or integrate fellow Africans from other countries as participants in the leadership structure to be the drivers of the ALG agenda in those countries, and also to create the desired footprints in those countries.
Thank you. Pastor Sonny, do you want to take that?
Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, I didn't catch the name of the person that asked.
Gov Momodu.
Okay, John Momodu, thank you very much. Very, very germane question. The reason why we are Africa Leadership Group is because we have a Pan-African outlook. And we basically started from home. So your question is, the short answer to that is yes. We have a structure and we have a committee looking at, expanding to all other African countries. We are taking them in bits and bytes. We have some presence in South Africa, for example. We intend to move there. Ghana is another place. Kenya in the east is another place that we are looking at. And, Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, that is the seat of the AU, is another country we are looking at. So we have a committee, that is looking at how we can effectively integrate into all other African countries. And we want to start like the Nigeria Leadership Series that we have. We want to have the Ghana Leadership Series, the Kenya Leadership Series, and all those series that we have. And so, yes, not to belabor the question, the answer is yes. We have a plan, we have a design, we have a committee working on that. And anybody that wants to join that committee, maybe you have some ideas, or if you have some contact in some countries that you think we can get into, please feel free to bring it up to our notices, and then we'll be able to see what we can do with those countries.
Thank you.
I hope it clarifies.
Yes, it does. And thank you very much.
Okay.
So Miss Biola Ige has a question. So please go ahead, Miss Ige, with your question.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Everybody. Okay, I just wanted to find out if we are expected to belong to just one committee, or we can belong to one or two committees at the same time, depending on our interests, or we're limited to just one committee. Hello, did you hear me?
Yeah, we heard you. You can belong to up to 2 committees for effectiveness. We are trying to restrict it so that people are not drawn in too many directions. So we have said at least everyone can join at, a maximum of 2 committees so that you can be effective and efficient while we are not making too much drain on your time. Okay, so the answer is 2 max.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then we have Mr. Olashibiko also, and then we have Linda. Please go ahead, sir, with your question.
Okay, apologies. I'm not Mr. Olaoshibiko.
Oh, so,
This is
I'm sorry.
Mrs. Olaoshibiko.
Mrs. Olaoshibiko. Apologies.
And let me just put it forward. You can just call me OK. Those are my initials. I know Olaoshibiko is a mouthful, but you are Jumoke. You should be able to call Olaoshibiko. All right. Sorry again. I apologize for coming in late. I put that on the chart. And I don't know, most of the questions I may be asking might have been discussed. So I just want to ask, how often do you have meetings so that when this presentation has been sent out to our emails and I've read over, so I don't take everybody back, then maybe I can ask my questions if I have any during the next meeting. So I just want to know, how often do you have meetings? Thank you.
So the orientation is one-off for now. Lara, did you want to take that? Okay. I thought you were, okay. So this is a one-off for now. But we have our contact information, so you can feel free to reach out to any one of us with any questions that you have. I'm going to go ahead and put my contact information in the chat room. Faye, Pastor Lou, if you could also put yours in there. And then when we send out the packet of information, you would also have the management, there's a directory for the management team that you can reach out to any one of us also.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Linda, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you very much for the privilege. Good evening, everyone, please. I'm greeting from Accra, so it's actually evening here. Okay, so I'm not sure if I missed this point during the previous presentations. I just to confirm, the modalities, or the modus operandi, how we're progressing as a group. Is it that we will be having like the various committees or work groups, will be having their resource management framework where they can, I did hear the last speaker talk about after the convener. I gotten after the convener, but I heard him speak about the kind of objectives. So if you have your resource management framework, then where you have your objectives, what your expected outcomes are, so that, and then on the results, and the impact that you ought to make. I just wanted to know if we're working in that direction, so that at every point in time and have your review periods, you can also have inter-committee engagements where you can do peer review or even kind of collaborative, efforts. I saw it's one of the C's. There's so many C's that we have there. Collaboration where different groups, can then come together to review, and see what else, how far, people have gone with what they have set out to do, how far they've gone towards meeting the objectives that they have set for themselves. And then also see how, they can get help or some kind of input from outside of the committee, in order to move forward, whatever they're trying to do. Thank you very much.
Olga VC, do you want to take that?
To be honest, I didn't quite hear all the questions, so if you did, nice.
I think the gist is she wants to understand the modalities of the committees in terms of their frequency, and if there is opportunity to collaborate and review what they've come up with. And this is, I'm just gathering it from what I heard. But that's the general gist. And Linda, you were breaking out. So if that's not what you were asking, do you mind putting it in the chat room so that we're clear? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's important. What we want is we don't want to belabor people. The committees have terms of references. Like I said, when I was speaking earlier on, we try to keep it simple, short, and straight to the point. We know what is right to do. This is how we propose that it should be done. We are looking at meetings that we are recommending, depending on the job of the committee themselves can choose to meet more frequent, but at least not less than once a quarter. So once in 3 months is more than enough. The length and duration of the meeting will be something that will be determined by the agenda you have to cover. If you can't cover it all in one go. So we leave it to the committee discretion to see how they would interact, based on what you need to do. But if you need to meet more frequently based on what you are pursuing, you can do that. And then individuals within the committee can be given tasks and assignments so that it's not when we come to meetings that is all talk. People will have done some homework, some research, and when we come is to collate, coordinate, and agree on the things that have been assigned to each person. So that's the way the committees engage. Everybody comes with a bit of facts from here and there, and they put it together, and we're able to make a presentation on what we need to do. That's okay. Anybody else can add to that structure if I didn't quite cover everything, but that's the general gist. Linda, I hope that clarifies for you. You are muted.
Yes, sir, it does. It does. Thank you very much. Just some kind of M&E register. So yes,
okay.
It does.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay. Is it okay now? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Am I clear now? If you can hear me, yes. I had to step outside. It was a little bit inside. Yes, so I was saying that is very good. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking about, or I was trying to find out. Some kind of M&E monitoring and evaluation process. So that's fine. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. I hope they heard me.
You're welcome. Okay. No other question. Okay. Is Mr. Chairman on the platform? Jumoke, over to you. What next?
Mr. Chairman is on. If there are no other questions, I think we can round up. That's one more person. Go ahead, Bayo.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this platform. Okay. My question is, since the group has been put up, the committee, different committees, I have somehow not been able to participate as I would want, and I think this is my first time. So I just want to know if there is there are documents or policy documents, procedures, strategy that you can share with us that we can look at so that we can better understand what the group is about. Thank you.
We have an information package that we're going to be sending to everyone after this meeting. So it would it summarizes everything we've discussed here today. And then if you have questions, there's some contacts in the letter too, that in the document that you'll be able to reach out to for additional questions or information.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All three of them are arguing with you. You are still arguing.
Ogavisi, I think
this
that's
guy,
the last one.
Oh, the other one.
So in the absence, I want to hand this over back to Mr. Chairman, for the closing comments.
All right, just to thank everyone very much again for offering to be part of what we're trying to do on the ALG, and also the EXCO for a fantastic job that they're doing and keeping the whole thing going. I'm hoping that we can get some very good results and that the committees will come back to us with very good suggestions and ideas as to what they are recommending for us to do. And I'm also hoping that anybody that's given an assignment will really take hold of that assignment and do it very, very well and meet the target deadlines. It's important that we do this so that we can make progress and track our progress. It's not a sprint, it's a long run. And we're hoping that the little efforts we put in here will really have long run impact. One thing that people didn't talk about, either maybe we omitted it, is also fundraise. We like ideas as to how to fundraise, and we like everyone to be a fundraiser of some sort or the other, because if we are to do what we need to do, we would need quite a lot of resource. But the idea is to use more a crowdfunding approach so that there's nothing too onerous on anyone, so that little drops of water can make a mighty ocean. But we will need to raise as much as we can to have the kind of impact that we can, especially in Nigeria at this time. So once again, I want to thank you. I want to thank all our speakers today, Jumoke Akintele, Taylor, Sonia Nebi, Shade Fasidemi. Pastor Tayo, one or the other, is not here. There must be a good reason. Jumoke, please call him to check on him as soon as we finish so that we can take it from there. Thank you very, very much. I wish you all a very pleasant night. And I think someone should please close us in prayer.
Is Lara there? Lara hasn't spoken.
Apologies for that. It's because I'm at a location where I can. There might be some distractions, that's why. Okay. Well, I can thank you again, everyone, for showing up. And we're excited to have everyone here. And I'm just going to close us up in prayer. Our Father and our God, we want to thank you this day. We want to bless your day, O Lord. We want to bless your name, O Lord, Father, for this day. We have come together, O Lord, Father, which we know is divine. We thank you for everyone that has showed up today, O Lord, on this forum to volunteer, O Lord, their talents and everything that you have given them, O Lord, to be part of the solution, O Lord, Father. Father, we thank you. We pray, O Lord, Father, that everything that we have shared today, O Lord, Father, the passion that you have given unto your people, O Lord, even to show up, O Lord, that you will continue to fuel it, that you continue to amplify the works of your hands, and also, Lord, Father, that you multiply even our thought process, our path, our plans, O Lord, even regarding this Project Nigeria, O Lord, Father. We pray, O Lord, Father, that, O Lord, as we come together in each of the committees, O Lord, Father, that peace and harmony will reign, collaboration will reign, and our contribution to Lord, Father, will be impactful. We thank you and we bless your name. It's in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed this hour. Amen.
Amen. Amen. One more thing, please don't forget to share the flyers for Thursdays, the Thursday program, please. Once you get it, please share it to your contact as well. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much. Good night.
Have a good evening.
Good morning. Good afternoon, wherever in the world you are.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you all for the good job you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Good to see you. At least I know your face now.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
See you all on Thursday.
God bless you.